It's everything. It could happen anytime, any place. It happens more consistently and in a concentrated time when we all are home and together and kind of focused on a mission of writing songs. We might get ideas and parts and pieces. You could be sound checking. Someone could play something cool, and we're like, oh, let's save that for when we get home. And planes, trains, automobiles for lyrical ideas. Sometimes whatever. But when we come home and we kind of say, okay, let's write music now, is when we really open ourselves up to the universe to listen and see what's out there and kind of come together and focus. And as much of it is, kind of pure and beautiful inspiration, it also comes from suiting up and showing up every day and knowing that, we have something to accomplish as a band, and it's writing.
Sometimes they do a thing called a face-off, where let's say we have a verse and a chorus, and I listen to the song and I say, okay, we need one more part. These parts are great, but it doesn't feel like a finished song. So Flea and John will usually go into separate rooms and come up with an option of what could happen next. And that'll take, we sometimes limit it to 10 or 15 minutes. And then they come in, and they each play their idea. And sometimes the whole song changes from there.
It's a lot about that organization process, like when the spark of the ideas comes, when the initial part of the ideas come, it comes from that sort of dreamlike place that I was talking about, but then it's our job to organize it and put it into shape and see it in relationship to the other songs and all that stuff.
It's like God is always there, but you got to do the footwork.
We recorded a monstrously large rock record in this very house that we're sitting now. We recorded 38 songs and then eventually decided to try to come up with a number that would fit onto a traditional double record. And that's what we did. We sat down and had this beautiful kind of sacred democratic powwow, including Rick Rubin, where we looked at all of the songs that we had recorded, and we started having vote-offs. And everybody voted on the songs that they thought had to be on the record, and so on down the line. We steeped the essence out of the 38 and came up with 28.
It was the idea that we would name each disc after a planet because we didn't want it to be seen as one big long thing. We want to encourage people to know that they can think of one as being one half and they can think of the other as being the other half, and each one can be its own thing, And
there's no one and no two.
There's no order.
There's no A, there's no B.
One's not better than the other.
They're orbiting one another.
And the Jupiter being the planet of creative intelligence, combined with Mars, which is the planet of war, it's basically fighting a war for creative intelligence. So we like the idea of combining those two things. We're sticking up for creativity, and we're trying to keep it moving along.
I would suggest listening to it in a minimum of two separate sittings, not listen to more than 14 songs in a row. And I would suggest going for the whole ride, not really hunting around, and if you don't like the first 30 seconds of a song, skipping it. I would hope that people could sit down and listen to it like people listen to albums in the past, where you sat down and really listened to it as a body of work, because we really recorded it that way with that in mind. I think all the songs stand up on their own, but it's a really beautiful experience to go on the whole roller coaster ride of the album.
Desecration Smile, and I like to throw Snow some love.
We believe is being towards the end.
Whoa! Get out of here! Wow!
But yeah, what we believe is a really good one. We had these little kids sing on it. They were really cute. They were between 4 and 7 years old, and they walked into the Center for the Cultivation of the Invisible, and they just brought a great life into the room, and they sang the words "We Believe" over and over, and it was a real mind-clearing kind of feeling for me. It felt like it meant something that I didn't really understand what it meant, but that really meant a lot.
I had that same feeling when the kids sang on Airplane.
Really? Yeah, so I like that one. I'm also a big fan of Hard to Concentrate. I really love everybody knows the vocal on it and stuff.
Don't have favorites.
Don't have favorites?
Don't have any.
Today, my top two would be Danny California and Tell Me Baby.
Wow. I don't believe him.
Huh?
I don't believe him. I think he made that up.
He's lying.
He's lying.
I'm willing to
Today,
tell. I cannot tell a lie.
It was originally Tony Kaye's idea, the director, to do it, and then we all just, played dress up and had some fun.
Yeah, it was really about the different periods, just we weren't really thinking of, sometimes we'd take an aspect of one artist, but sometimes one of us might have been a combination of three different people, like we were just mixing up our general feeling about all these different eras of music,
It was a love letter to the history of rock and roll. And it wasn't, like John said, we weren't trying to do specific bands. We were just pulling energies out of different important periods in the history of rock and amalgamating and even inventing some new characters along the way that could have existed during a particular time, like Mojo, the drummer, for instance, during the sort of in the early 70s psychedelic funk explosion. Mojo very well could have existed under the skull cap of Mr. Smith.
Mojo, he'd kick your ass for nothing. For nothing.
Very powerful man.
Kick your ass for nothing.
In the beginning, the Chili Peppers were viewed as more of a novelty band. So they've really gone from sort of a funny novelty band into growing into consummate songwriters, and they're probably some of the best musicians. I can't think of any musicians in any other rock band that are better than them.